Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Mindy here. I hope you're all doing very well. Today I'm going to talk about affordable fragrances. I've done a video on this recently. I absolutely love this topic. I don't think you need to spend a ton of money on fragrance to smell good. There are some amazing affordable options out there. So I want to keep doing series on this, continue to talk about affordable fragrances that smell amazing. I have a really nice variety here, fragrances that will appeal to a bunch of different people. There's one in here that I'm not crazy about, but for the most part, I really do enjoy these fragrances. I'm including the one that I'm not wild about, recognizing that people have different tastes and preferences than I do, and what I may not love, somebody else definitely will. I love these videos. If you're interested in affordable fragrances that I recommend going into this holiday season for yourself, for a friend, a loved one, please stay tuned and we will jump right in. The first fragrance that I have here is a blind buy for me. This is a YouTube made me buy it, but I was also really interested in this fragrance before I saw people speak about it. This is one that I really thought the notes profile would work well for me, and it turns out that this is not my style of fragrance. But that doesn't mean that a lot of people won't enjoy this. This is an amber floral fragrance. This is Sun by Jil Sander. The beautiful notes here are really what drew me in. I'll put the notes up here because there are a lot of them, but some that intrigued me included benzoin, amber, vanilla, tonka. There's an added note of tobacco leaf as well. I really expected this to be a warm, cozy, comforting fragrance, and that it is. What I also hoped, though, was that this would be somewhat similar or along the lines of Bobbi Brown The Beach. That's a fragrance that I absolutely adore. It's a suntan oil type fragrance, and this is not that. This definitely has a bright, uplifting, citrus presence. It has that warm, ambery feel to it. I get a creaminess here, but in a very clean way. This one sort of makes me think of a fabric softener. When you think about freshly laundered clothes that came right out of the dryer that smell really amazing, I get a little bit of that clean, fresh feel from this perfume. Yes, it has some warmth in it because of those warm ambery notes, but I do get that clean feel, and that really isn't my typical style of fragrance. If you have tastes like I do, where you like warm gourmands, this may not be your type of fragrance. It's not mine. I would appreciate this one as a room spray or a car spray or on somebody else, but I do think a lot of people would enjoy this fragrance. One other thing I want to mention on this one is that there is a floral component here as well. So there's African orange, flower, ylang ylang, heliotrope, carnation, rose, lily of the valley. So part of why I struggle with this one a little bit is just that strong floral presence. I do well with some florals, but not always. And so this is just one that didn't really work out for me in the sense that the floral presence is a little bit more than I like to have in my fragrances. And even though the name is Sun, it might imply that this might be a summery fragrance. I do think this one will keep people warm in these cold months. This is a nice fragrance for people who like those clean fragrances. Sun by Jil Sander. Next up is Hanae by Mori, and this is a fragrance that is also very affordable. I really enjoy this fragrance. I think I paid less than $25 for this one. I think almost everything on this list was less than $25. This is a fragrance that is often compared to Flowerbomb. Now, thinking about how this one compares to Flowerbomb, just for reference, for people who are familiar with that scent profile, I do think that this one is a little bit sweeter. I also think that this one has a little bit less of a floral presence and a little bit more of a fruity presence. So looking at the fruity notes in here, there is strawberry, there's apple, blackcurrant, Sicilian bergamot. What really stands out to me is absolutely that strawberry note. It's the dominating note in this fragrance. So if you like strawberry in your perfumes, I do think you'll like this one. Overall, I find performance to be good on this one. Longevity is good. And I think the sillage is very much along the lines of what you would expect from Flowerbomb. I do highly recommend this fragrance. I think it's affordable. It's a great scent. This is Hanae by Mori. Now another fragrance in that same exact vein is Butterfly EDP, also by Mori. This was another fragrance that was very affordable. I do prefer Hanae by Mori over this one, but I think this is an amazing option for somebody who likes a little bit more freshness, maybe a little bit more of a clean fragrance than what I described with Hanae. I do think the base of this fragrance is somewhat similar to Hanae, the fragrance before, Although I saw that a lot of people rank this one to have a strong strawberry presence. That's not the case with me. I do think Hanae has a strong strawberry presence, but this one's a little bit different for me. I respectfully disagree. I do think this one lacks the fruitiness that is in the fragrance I spoke about before. This one has a little bit more of a floral presence. There's ylang ylang, jasmine, rose, and peony in here. And while there are quite a bit of fruity notes in here, strawberry, blackberry, blueberry, and blackcurrant, I get more of a woody base, a little bit more of a floral presence in this fragrance than I do in Hanae. To me, this is powdery, it's nice, it's pretty, but it never did creep up into my loves. I think for people who like a little bit of fruitiness, that woody undertone in their fragrances with a floral presence as well, I do think you might like this fragrance. This is Butterfly EDP by Hanae Mori. The next fragrance is Amo by Ferragamo, and this is another one that is a YouTube made me buy, and I have no regrets with this one. I'm surprised by how much I like it. I find this to be absolutely uplifting. It's pretty, it's a fruity vanillic type fragrance. It has an effervescent brightness that I really enjoy, a vibrance in this fragrance that makes you smell really beautiful and lifts your spirits while doing it. I think part of the vibrancy that you get from this fragrance is related back to the Campari that's in here. I do love the composition in this one. There's a tartness and a sweetness that you get from that blackcurrant and rhubarb. The base notes in here are Tahitian vanilla, ambroxan, sandalwood, and they really round out some of those bright notes that are in here, balance them out, and give it a beautiful woody base. I find this one to be a happy, uplifting, crowd-pleasing fragrance that I think a lot of people will enjoy. My husband has complimented this fragrance. He enjoys it. A really beautiful, vanillic, fruity type fragrance with some brightness, some sparkling qualities to it. This is Amo by Ferragamo. Okay, here we go with yet another YouTube made me buy fragrance. This is To Be Exotic Jungle by Police. Again, this is another one that I think I paid less than $20 for. And the reason I was so interested in this one, in addition to the notes, because there are some beautiful notes in here, vanilla, suede, patchouli, plum, blackcurrant, lemon, and some other notes as well. I bought this because of the comparisons to La Nuit Tresor à la Folie. That is by far one of my very favorite fragrances that I have, and it made me so curious how this one compares. To me, this is slightly reminiscent of a celebrity fragrance. I find it to be sweet, it's fruity, it's affordable. From my perspective, I don't see it being exactly along the lines of La Nuit Tresor à la Folie. Yes, a lot of people say that this is similar, and I can see why they would say that, but I personally feel that La Nuit Tresor à la Folie has more depth, it has more dimension, more character. There is bourbon vanilla in that fragrance, and there's just a lot of very warm, ambery notes in that one that take it to a different level than this one. I find this to be a little bit more fruity, a little bit more linear, but that is not to say that this is not a beautiful fragrance on its own. When I first spray this, this actually reminds me of something else in my collection that many people are familiar with, and that's Black Opium. It's not the same as Black Opium, but there are some qualities that smell slightly similar there. They don't share the same notes except for patchouli, but somehow it made me think of Black Opium immediately when I sprayed this recently, and so I wanted to put that out there so that people who are familiar with Black Opium, really enjoy Black Opium, might know that this is in a similar vein. Another thing that I referenced in a prior video on this one is that it did make me think of Taylor Swift Incredible Things. That's a fragrance I haven't worn for quite some time. It's one that has some quality that I don't love, but this one does sort of remind me of that. So if you did like that fragrance, you may like this one as well. Again, I find this to be underrated. It's an affordable fragrance. It's really an easygoing, easy reach type perfume. This is To Be Exotic Jungle by Police. Last up is one I've spoken about in recent videos, and that's because it's a beautiful fragrance. I consider it to be underrated. I consider it to be an amazing fall fragrance. This is Nirvana Amethyst by Elizabeth and James. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because I have recommended this in the past, but I do think I paid around $16 for this one. It's my scent of the day, and I absolutely love this perfume. This is kind of a gorgeous, spicy perfume. It's deep. It's rich, it's got a darkness to it and a beautiful woody base. The notes in here are tobacco, which I love in perfume, honeysuckle, cedar, and spices. This is an amazing unisex option for somebody who likes those dark, deep, rich, tobacco-centric type fragrances. Really enjoy this one. Happy to have it in my collection. This is Nirvana Amethyst by Elizabeth and James. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I truly appreciate you. If you enjoyed this video on affordable fragrances that I have in my collection, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I do plan to continue to do these over the next month or two in planning for the holiday season, but I want to hear from you what kind of videos you want to see. What kind of fragrances are you considering buying your colleagues, your loved ones, your friends? Let me know in the comments section below. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. I hope you have a lot to be grateful and thankful for. And until next time, I'll see you soon.